Hey everyone, welcome back to FMP University. I'm Shane Grindle, and I am thrilled to bring you another fascinating topic today. I've seen some wild stuff at the Mayo Clinic where I used to work, and we're diving into one of those topics that are very near and dear to my heart, both metaphorically and literally. During my time at the prestigious Mayo Clinic, I've had the opportunity to work with some fascinating technologies, and one of those medical technologies today is we're going to be talking about the LVAD. LVAD stands for Left Ventricular Assist Device. It's sort of like a helper for your heart when it's having a tough time pumping blood. It gets real tired for many reasons, and that includes certain heart conditions that can be congenital, which is you're born with it, or acquired over time, as heart disease is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. But first up, we're talking about the HeartMate, also called the XVE. Got the thumbs up from the FDA back in 2001. It was a massive device, but cool because it tried to mimic the natural pulsatile behavior of the heart. Then finally, the HeartMate 2 came around, which was a massive change in how small and compact the device was. And it also tried to keep the flow of the heart going as well. Now we're finally into the HeartMate 3, which keeps a constant flow, but then again adds a couple of pulses here and there to keep things moving slowly. Next, we're talking about the HeartWare LVAD, but it's also known as the HVAD. It's super compact, so it's great because that even smaller adults and some kids even can use this device. Just like the HeartMate 2 and HeartMate 3, it keeps the blood flowing all the time. So why are these devices so important? Well, here's a mind-blowing fact. As of early 2023, we have greater than 100,000 people in the United States that are waiting on a solid organ transplant. And that's where the LVADs come in, so that they are able to help bridge that gap, so that we are saving more lives for people that are waiting on those very precious solid organs. So the thing about it also, and if a heart transplant is impossible, an LVAD can stick around for the long haul, so that people who are not a candidate for a heart transplant will still be given the gift of life using this great device. So I ask for a reason here is consider being an organ donor for the patients that need it. So I saw some amazing things at the Mayo Clinic, and the power of these devices are definitely at the top of the list. LVADs don't just add years to a person's life, but they can seriously increase the quality of life in those years for those patients. Think less hospitalizations for these patients and more time that they can stay at home with their family and friends. All right, guys, now that we have talked about the LVAD device itself, now let's talk about who is this for. The patient that I see at Mayo Clinic oftentimes, and this can be often from a young patient. Believe it or not, they have usually an undiagnosed, called it hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or basically an end-stage disease where the heart muscle tissue is much thicker because it has to compensate for all that high pressure. Or then again, if it's a genetic condition, you automatically are born with the gene to create more heart tissue. So what happens is this LVAD gets placed inside of the heart, and it helps with this left ventricular support. So patients with the LVAD, they have pros and cons using this device. The big pro here is it's going to prolong the lifespan of the patient. Without this life-saving intervention, their quality of life and lifespan are both low. These patients usually won't make it out of the hospital without this LVAD. Or conversely, they are in and out of the hospital all the time with lethal arrhythmias. Their pacemaker will fire on them just randomly because these patients have end-stage heart disease. So we talked a little bit about the quality of life that's going to be improved, which is this is going to help you have less hospital admissions, as well as less presentations to the ER for lethal arrhythmia, as we call them, or a pacemaker defibrillator firing off, which can be a great thing for these patients. Now we can spend time with our family without too much involved here. Next, we roll into the cons of everything here. There's always pros and cons, and with the cons of this is that this is an invasive procedure. We're opening up the chest, we're cutting the body, and anytime we cut the body, there's always a risk of infection, there's always a risk of clot, which can lead to a stroke, or there is a risk of bleeding for people here. Now we're talking about exactly what heart failure looks like, there's two variations. I talked about a condition that is congenital called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, but there's also a dilated cardiomyopathy, whereas the heart itself is very weak. So instead of being very thick, now these heart walls are very thin. So the thin heart walls are not able to squeeze and relax and contract as effectively. So that is dilated cardiomyopathy. Both can also be called systolic heart failure or diastolic heart failure. Diastolic heart failure is where you cannot relax effectively, and systolic is you don't have enough squeeze. Pretty cool, right? It's like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's something happening right now in clinics all over the world. But if you're digging these fun facts and cool medical stories, hit that like button for me and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe here, okay? So what are the medical wonders and interesting things you want to hear about at our next video? Drop those comments below, let me know, and thanks for hanging out with me at FNP University today. I'm Shane Grindle, and I can't wait to share more interesting and fun videos next up. See you soon.